It's no secret that I've been a huge fan of Bun for a while. Way back in 2022, I was Jared's first interview talking about it, and the ride we've been on since has been crazy. I'm a fan, a user, a builder, and an investor, all working with Bun wherever it makes sense to. And I'm really, really lucky to consider Jared a good friend. So knowing that, there is bias to account for here, especially when you realize that they were just acquired by a company I'm not necessarily known for being the biggest fan of. Yes, Bun is joining Anthropic. This seems just absolutely insane, and as a result, I've seen even more insane takes about it. From, oh, they're being acqui-hired, Bun's dead, to, of course they did that, they're going to build a cloud environment to compete with Vercel for Claude Code, and all of this is insane. Just as insane as me technically having equity in Anthropic now, which is kind of hilarious that I have equity in Anthropic and not OpenAI. All of that aside, I have thoughts here. I also have a lot of inside info, so I have to dance around it to the best of my ability. But this is a weird topic because I am uniquely qualified, both as a friend and investor of Jared and Bun, but also as somebody who's deep in the web world, deep in the building world for full stack stuff around JavaScript, and also really deep on the direction of this AI stuff and where Anthropic is trying to go. We have a lot to talk about here, guys, and I can't wait to do it, but I didn't get a payout for this yet, so let's hear a quick word from today's sponsor. There are a few things that hurt developer velocity more than slow builds. If a user reports a problem and you go and fix it in 10 minutes, but you have to wait 2 hours for the build to complete just to realize there's a small mistake and then go through the whole loop again, there goes all of your agility. You're throwing away so much opportunity to move fast and ship fast, and those blocks will keep your engineers from staying motivated on those tasks. If you're looking at a huge pile of tickets that have been building up over time, there's a good chance your build time is a part of why that's happening. That's why I look at this number and just can't fathom why anyone isn't already using Depot. Seriously, PostHog's actual production builds went from 153 minutes to 4 minutes. I know it sounds too good to be true, but let's be real. A lot of this is because GitHub doesn't know what they're doing, but the other side is that these guys are so locked in and focused on performance. Depot is obsessed with squeezing every ounce of potential improvement in your GitHub Actions. Honestly, if this costs 10 times more than GitHub Actions, I'd probably still be a happy customer because of the amount of time it's saving my teams. But it ends up being cheaper, which is just insane. Since migrating from default GitHub Actions, our Docker image build times have literally been cut in half. Depot Dev is incredible for reducing our build times by 10x from 8 minutes to 20 seconds. Depot's awesome. Got my build in push from 30 minutes to 4, and it will be about 12 seconds when it's cached. Moving to Depot takes 5 minutes, so if your builds are longer than that, your next build will cut the cost difference. It's so worth it. Give them a shot now at soydev.link/depot. Where to even start with this one? There are 2 articles as well as all the things people are saying, and then, of course, my own speculation that we'll be doing near the end. So if you want to hear my thoughts on why they're doing this and where it's going, stick to the end for that. Anthropic acquires Bun as Claude Code reaches the $1 billion milestone. Pretty crazy revenue for Claude Code, but also they're basically giving discounts for Claude by using Claude Code, so I get it. Claude is the world's smartest and most capable AI model for developers, startups, and enterprises. Kind of crazy that the first sentence is nothing about Bun at all. In fact, you have to go quite a bit before Bun is mentioned. I heard someone say that the amount of mentions of things in here is weird. Claude is mentioned 25 times, Claude Code is mentioned 11 times, and Bun is mentioned 18. Fun. Claude Code represents a new era of agentic coding, fundamentally changing how teams build software. In November, Claude Code achieved a significant milestone. Just 6 months after becoming available, it reached $1 billion in run rate revenue. Today, we're announcing that Anthropic's acquiring Bun, a breakthrough JavaScript runtime, to further accelerate Claude Code. This is the key piece here. We'll talk more about the importance of this in a bit. Bun's redefining speed and performance for modern software engineering and development. Founded by Jared in 2021, Bun is dramatically faster than the leading competition. As an all-in-one toolkit, combining runtime, package manager, bundler, and test runner, it's become essential infra for AI-led software engineering, helping devs build and test applications at unprecedented velocity. Bun has improved the JS and TypeScript developer experience by optimizing for reliability, speed, and delight. For those using Claude Code, this acquisition means faster performance, improved stability, and new capabilities. Together, we'll keep making Bun the best JS runtime for all developers while building even better workflows into Claude Code. Here's a whole section of glazing Claude Code. We've been a close partner of Bun for many months. If you didn't know, Claude Code bundles Bun alongside it when you install it as the runtime for Claude Code. Our collaboration has been central to the rapid execution of Claude Code team and directly drove the recent launch of Claude Code's native installer. We know the Bun team is building from the same vantage point that we do at Anthropic, with a focus on rethinking the dev experience and building innovative and useful products. I did notice this when I last installed Claude, that there was a bunch of callouts for native in it. I thought they might have done the stupid Rust rewrite that a handful of these products have done that didn't need it. No, that's not what they did. They did this to make a single binary you can install using Bun. It's simpler, more stable, and doesn't require Node. We recommend this as the default installation method for all Claude Code users going forward, with Brew, with curl, or on Windows with IRM. Makes sense. This is bundling a single binary that is wrapped with Bun so that it can execute and manage its own runtime and not have to worry about you having the right version of Node installed. I know a lot of companies get really annoying about setting up Claude Code, codecs, and these things because they want a single binary they can approve and distribute internally. But if you also have to have Node distributed internally with the right version and everything, the IT teams get all fucky with it. I think that's stupid. Your IT team should be competent if they're controlling what tech your developers can use. But a lot of companies aren't competent, and as such, this type of single approvable binary is necessary. I've heard from many that this is the reason why codecs got rewritten in Rust, which is the worst possible reason to rewrite something in Rust. I much prefer the method that Anthropic took here. They even got the CPO of Anthropic to leave some comments. Bun represents exactly the kind of technical excellence we want to bring into Anthropic. Jared and his team rethought the entire JS toolchain from first principles while remaining focused on real use cases. Kind of disagree here. They didn't rethink the toolchain so much as rewrite it so that it's fully compatible. Something like Dino was the rethinking of the JS toolchain, which failed, and now they're trying to do compat as well. Bun is a compatibility play. Bringing the Bun team into Anthropic means we can build the infra to compound that momentum and keep pace with the exponential growth in AI adoption. The decision to acquire Bun is in line with our strategic, disciplined approach to acquisitions. We will continue to pursue opportunities that bolster our technical excellence, reinforce our strengths as the leader in enterprise AI, and most importantly, align with our principles and mission. And one last important piece, because people are worried about Bun going private, which makes sense because Claude Code is the only one of these major agentic coding tools that is still closed source. Bun will remain open source and MIT licensed, and we will continue to invest in making it the runtime bundler, package manager, and test runner of choice for JavaScript and TypeScript devs. I already see people in chat being skeptical of that. I'll say it myself. If they were to screw with the open source nature of Bun, I will be the loudest person complaining about that by far. They will never hear the end of it from me. I would argue that this is now time to do the opposite. They need to triple down on open source. They need to open source Claude Code alongside this. There is no world in which they stop supporting Bun as a result of this. In fact, it's the opposite. Anthropic bet so hard on Bun that Bun not getting profitable and then dying is a huge risk for them. We'll talk about all of that in just a bit. First, I want to read this from Bun's perspective. Bun is joining Anthropic. Anthropic is betting on Bun as the infrastructure powering Claude Code, the Claude Agent SDK, and future AI coding products and tools. So what doesn't change? I really like this at the start. Bun stays open source and MIT licensed. It continues to be extremely actively maintained. Same team is still working on Bun. Pretty much everybody at the Bun company is coming through for this acquisition. And the one person who isn't that I know of, because they were still in the process of being hired, they got a really generous payout. So Jared went really hard to make sure everybody at Bun and Oven won here. And that's something that matters a lot to me. My biggest concern with Bun has always been, can Jared run a company that makes money and get the win back to his team? I was concerned he might not have it in him, but this is the perfect path. Jared's a builder. He wants to build. He doesn't want to be an executive. He doesn't want to run a company. He doesn't want to deal with profitability and all of these things. As someone who's talked with him a bunch about it, interviewed him, and roasted him privately and publicly over his lack of vision for a way for them to make money, this is the perfect ending for that. This is letting him go focus on what he's good at, get his team what they deserve for the work they've done, and everything gets to accelerate as a result. Also, of course, Bun is still public on GitHub. They're not going to change that. And Bun's roadmap will continue to focus on high-performance JS tooling, Node compat, and replacing Node as the default server-side runtime for JavaScript. The one thing I do expect to change is that we're going to see less of these Redis connectors or the MySQL plugin built into Bun. I would expect less of that type of thing and more of the locked-in focus on making Bun the best runtime for Node applications. Claude Code ships as a Bun executable to millions of users. If Bun breaks, Claude Code breaks. Anthropic has direct incentives to keep Bun excellent. Yes, perfect. So what is changing? We will help make coding tools like Claude Code and the Agent SDK faster and smaller. We get a close first look at what's around the corner for AI coding tools and making Bun better for it. And most importantly, Bun will ship faster. Now that Jared's not distracted by running a company, dealing with investors and all his other things, and can just focus on shipping, he's going to ship hard. My only concern is that Anthropic has enough interesting stuff going on that he might get nerd sniped by something else. But now that Bun has the resources it needs internally, they can keep moving. There's a fun little, how Bun started story in here. I'll link it in the description if you want to read the whole thing. I'll breeze through it really quick, though. 5 years ago, Jared was building a voxely game in the browser, kind of like Minecraft. Codebase got large, iteration cycles took 45 seconds to test if changes worked. He was using Next.js, and the hot server reloads were taking almost a minute. He got frustrated, so he started porting ES builds, JSX, and TypeScript transpiler from Go to Zig all the way back in 2021. 3 weeks later, I had a somewhat working JSX and TypeScript transpiler. Spent much of the first year in a cramped apartment in Oakland, coding and tweeting about Bun. In order to get the server-side rendering to work, you need a runtime, and all the runtimes need to interpret and JIT the code. So he started working on top of WebKit to make his own runtime. Bun 0.1 was released in July. This is when I interviewed him, by the way. Looking at that in retrospect is wild. They reached 20K stars on GitHub. What he doesn't mention is he also had a YC company that was still active, but in pivot hell, and pivoted it to Bun. So technically Bun is a YC company, but it's similar to T3 Chat's a YC company, where Ping was a YC company. Ping did not go great. And then T3 Chat happened under the same company and went way better than expected. They raised a big round from Kleiner Perkins. He took a small salary. He always underpaid himself. Believe it or not, Jared, until today, was broke. So it's going to be fun to see how he handles having money. My suspicion is nothing will change. They raised again, this time a $19 million Series A. This was in 2023, September, after the 1.0 launch. 1.1 added Windows. 1.2 made big changes for Node Compat, added built-in Postgres and S3, and this is when X and Midjourney started to use them. It's my understanding that X is using them mostly for package management, not the runtime. Midjourney, I believe, is using the runtime as well. This is part of what makes Bun complex. It's a bundler, it's a runtime, it's an alternative tool set and standard library for a bunch of things. It's a lot of stuff in one, and it seems like the majority of people using Bun are primarily using it for the installer and bundler. Anthropic's one of the few companies using it for the runtime, which I think is a really safe and good thing, because them using it for the runtime means that the acquisition isn't going to be the end of the runtime. Like if Twitter or X purchased Bun, they'd be all focused on the bundler and the package manager side, probably not the runtime side. Anthropic's one of the few companies that uses most of Bun and can benefit from all of it. And then 1.3 dropped. I actually did an interview with Jared in person at a small 1.3 launch event in the city just a few weeks ago, and I grilled him on not having a plan to make money. And he really didn't at the time. It seems like it was just a few days after that things started to really accelerate. AI started to get good in late 2024. AI coding tools went from cool demo to actually useful. I know that Jared's been using Claude Code and Claude models for doing stuff in Bun for a while now. He used to very excitedly say that for the first time, Jared's not the one committing the most code to Bun, it's now Claude. And since Bun is a single file executable, you don't have to do a whole system install with a bunch of shit. You can just bundle Bun itself. It's easy to bundle with these CLI tools. You can compile any JS project into a self-contained binary that runs anywhere, even if the user doesn't have Bun or Node installed. It works with native add-ons, it has fast startup, and it's easy to distribute. That's why Claude Code, Factory AI, OpenCode, and tons of other things are all built with Bun. And the result of this was that Jared got obsessed with Claude Code. The GitHub username with the most merged PRs in Bun's repo is the Claude Code bot. We have it set up in our internal Discord, and we use it to help fix bugs. It opens up PRs with tests that fail in earlier system installed versions of Bun before the fix, and it passes in the fix debug Bun or build. It's doing the full write a test, use the new version, change it until it works thing. Responds to review comments, it does the whole thing. This feels a few months ahead of where things are going, certainly not years. And here is the key piece. Today, Bun makes $0 in revenue. If you watch my most recent Bun video, the last third of it is me roasting Jared for this and trying to describe a path for them to make money. And this has clearly been stressing him out, as well as the team at Bun. I can't tell you how many private conversations I've had with people at Bun worried about what the long-term plan is for the company. One of the most common questions I get is about sustainability. Questions like, how does Bun become a business? If I bet my work project or company's stock on Bun, will it still be around in 5 or 10 years? These are key. It's one of the big things I was nervous about with Bun is I don't know where it's going to be because it wasn't making money. And you need money to survive. I know Next.js is still going to be here in 5 years, even if it's in a rough state, because it's a huge part of Vercel's business. They have a lot of money. They want to keep making money. they need next to succeed. I don't know that about Bun. The default answer has always been, we'll eventually build a cloud hosting product integrated with Bun's runtime and bundler. Same with Dino, and that did not work for them. Getting this right is really hard and would take Jared's full focus, which means he wouldn't be working on Bun, the actual open source project, as much anymore, which he does not want to do. Jared just wants to focus on the thing he cares about, and making money is not the thing he cares about. As someone who's a good friend of his, there are a few people who are less motivated by money than him. The only monetary motivation I've seen from him is getting his team paid. The money was a way for him to keep working on this thing he cares about, not a thing that he wanted to have a whole bunch of in his bank account. Now his team's paid. Now his burden is cleared and he can go lock in and build. Forcing ourselves down the prescribed path felt wrong when AI coding tools are getting this good this fast. He also just didn't want to do it. I love this. The walk. This part's very funny for reasons we'll get to in a minute. We've been prioritizing issues from the Claude Code team for several months now. It'd be a lot easier if Claude Code is open source, just saying. I have so many ideas all the time, and it's really fun. Many of these ideas also help other AI coding products. Look at that. Dax getting a link in an Anthropic post. Me every time I need something in Bun fixed for open code. And it's the video of just them saying, Jared, Jared, over and over again. A few weeks ago, I went on a 4-hour walk with Boris from the Claude Code team. We talked about Bun. We talked about where AI code is going. We talked about what it would look like for Bun's team to join Anthropic. The link here is very funny. Oh, fuck no. What happened October 28th? This is the only day that we know of where Jared wasn't writing commits. He has one of the craziest contribution graphs we've ever seen. Jared, all things happening. And October 28th, no contributions. Dax tweeted, very concerned about this. That was because he was on this walk with Boris from the Claude Code team. Very funny that Dax got 2 tweet links in this article. We talked about what it would look like for Bun's team to join Anthropic. Then we did that about 3 more times over the next few weeks. Then I did that with many of the competitors. I think Anthropic is going to win. Yeah. He did his due diligence. I'm sure he talked to everybody from Codex to Cursor. I don't know. He didn't tell me who else he talked to. All he told me was how excited he was to go to Anthropic. He really seems excited about working with these guys, in particular the Claude Code team. And I even have some good friends on the Claude Code team who are awesome. Shout out to Daisy. She's the reason I'm not a lot harsher on Claude Code. She clearly really cares. And I know there's a lot of people fighting internally to make it open source. Just to reinforce the point, Anthropic, we can bridge this gap. You guys are making a lot of progress right now. You're doing a lot of good things. And this is a huge win for the whole ecosystem. As long as you don't screw over Bun and the Bun team and people using it in any meaningful way, we're going to be a lot better. But if you, on top of that, were to open source Claude Code and start contributing more to the open source JavaScript ecosystem, slate's cleared. We're good. I would be a very proud investor and shareholder in Anthropic at that point. So to the handful of people on Claude Code that are still convinced it's your secret sauce and open sourcing it would be disastrous, you're wrong. Just do it. Betting on Anthropic sounded like a more interesting path, to be in the center of things, to work alongside the team building the best AI coding product. Jared likes chasing what he's excited about. This is ADHD winning, and it's winning hard here. Jared's the type of person who was half an hour to an hour late to his own launch event because he was coding. This is all a bit crazy. At the time of writing, Bun's monthly downloads grew 25% over the last month, passing 7.2 million monthly downloads. We had 4 years of runway to figure out monetization. We didn't have to join Anthropic. They had 4 years to figure this all out, and they're still doing it. That said, it does get harder every month to figure out how to make money. Every product I've ever launched started with a paid tier because we don't want to have this risk. Shout out to the people who do. It's scary. I don't want more users to mean we go out of business faster, personally. This is how I build, and the companies I invest in tend to already have revenue. It's scary, but if you're smart enough and know what you're doing, I'll throw some money in, which is what I did with Jared and Bun. And here we are. Instead of putting the users and the community through Bun, the VC-backed startup tries to figure out monetization. Thanks to Anthropic, we can skip that chapter entirely and just focus on building the best JS tooling. When people ask, will Bun still be around in 5 or 10 years? Answering with, we raised $26 million isn't a great answer. Those investors eventually need a return, or you have to raise more money until you can get that return. There's a bigger question behind that. What does software engineering even look like in 2 to 3 years? Yeah. We're now at the point where the smartest engineers I know are saying this. 2 years ago, the dumbest engineers I knew were saying this, like AI is going to replace everyone. Last year, everybody was pushing back on it like, no, this stuff's not that good. You can't build real software with it. This year, the smartest people I know are like, oh, shit, things are changing. AI code tools are getting really good, really fast, and they're using Bun's single-file executables to ship CLIs and agents that run everywhere. If most new code is going to be written, tested, and deployed by agents, then the runtime and tooling around the code are way more important. There's a lot more code overall that needs to be written and tested a lot faster, and humans are more detached from every individual line, so the environment it runs in has to be fast and predictable. Bun started with a focus on making devs faster. AI coding tools do a similar thing. It's a natural fit. And that's why they're joining Anthropic. Anthropic's investing in Bun as the infra for Claude Code, Claude Agent SDK, and future AI coding products. This is why people are thinking that this is a cloud bet. I'm sure if they do make more cloud plays, there's a good chance Bun will be used for that. But this isn't what I thought initially. This isn't Anthropic buying Bun to make them make the internal Anthropic cloud. This is them investing heavily in the tools that work. Because as I've said many times, the code quality at Anthropic is not great. Just go use the Claude website if you don't believe me. Like, it's just, the quality of the code being shipped there does not even come close to the quality of the models and research that they're doing. They almost feel at odds with each other. The quality of understanding of the JS ecosystem and tooling at Anthropic has more than doubled through this acquisition. Their job is to make Bun the best place to build, run, and test AI-driven software, while continuing to be a great general-purpose JS runtime, bundler, package manager, and test runner. Being part of Anthropic gives Bun long-term stability, a home as well as resources so people can safely bet their stock on Bun, a front-row seat to where AI coding tools are headed so we can shape Bun around the future instead of guessing from the outside, as well as more firepower. They can actually hire more, not worry about their run rate dwindling and their time till they're out of money happening faster. It's really scary to hire when you have a certain amount of runway. When your company only has enough money for 3 years and then you hire and now you have 2.5 years, you hire again, you have 1 year. It's terrifying. And of course, same key points from the top. It's open source. It's still will be built in public. The same team's working on it and they're still obsessed with making JS and TS faster to install, build, run, and test. And of course, if you're skeptical, make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Only half of you guys are. It's just a little button at the bottom of the screen you can click. I'll be covering this. If anything changes going forward, I will be the loudest, annoying voice complaining if Anthropic screws this up at all. I genuinely don't think they will. Again, as the person who is most skeptical of Anthropic most often, I think this is a good alignment and pulls Anthropic in the direction I want to see them going in. This feels good to me. I'm not just saying that because I'm now technically an investor. That one's weird. I'm saying this because I do really believe in the Bun team, and I trust the people who see what I see in them too. So subscribe if you want to make sure that I can hold them accountable. Quick FAQ, and then I'll dive into my own skepticism here. Is Bun still open source? Yes. Will it still be on GitHub? Yes. Do they still care about node compatibility? Yes. Is the same team working on Bun? Yes. And now they don't have to worry about making money somehow. What does this do for Bun's roadmap? Bun's team will work more closely with the Claude Code team, and it probably will look similar to the relationship between Google and V8, Safari and JS Core, Mozilla Firefox and SpiderMonkey, but with more independence to prioritize the wide variety of ways people and companies both use Bun today. Let's do some quick memes. We finally can see the back of the Bun logo. Quality meme. Good work, Terminal. Dax quoting the, how funny is this, the 4-hour walk thing being the day that happened, which is just hilarious. But also, Jared's post, this is my favorite. People would always ask, how is Bun sustainable? If I bet my company's tech on Bun, will it still be around in a few years? We didn't have a great answer to this question until today. Yeah, they did it. And I still see a lot of skepticism in chat. We used to love Bun, it's going to shit. I can't trust them. I'm so worried. All of these people saying things like this. Again, I am the person who loves to do this more than anybody. It's like my whole thing to shit on Anthropic. But the harsh reality is that there's a lot of good engineering going on that makes this make sense. We need to go back in time a little bit to when OpenAI dropped O4 Mini, because I was excited about their Codex CLI in here in particular, but I had a particular statement I made about it. I want to find Ink.js. Ink, if you're not familiar, is a React renderer for the terminal, similar to how React Native lets you render on iOS or Android, or React 3 Fiber lets you render in Three.js and Canvas. Ink.js lets you render in the terminal. Very cool stuff. Means that you can use all the React patterns you're used to. That said, I've seen a couple people move off of Ink because it gets rough at scale. Just maintaining it well with the performance can be a real challenge. The Wrangler CLI by Cloudflare used to be using Ink. Then they moved to Go. Then they moved back to TypeScript, but no more Ink.js, so it'd be more performant and maintainable. So yeah, I've seen a lot of back and forth with this, and I have a bad feeling if they have performance issues, they're just going to leave JS, then realize they were wrong and go back to it. So to the OpenAI people watching this, to Fuad in particular, don't move off JS if you have problems. Talk to me. We'll get you guys off Ink if it isn't the right thing for what you're doing. But if it does work great, keep using it. It's a yeah. They moved to Rust a week after I said that. Almost like I called it. Yeah. So this has been a problem with a lot of these. They move out of the JavaScript ecosystem. So the other big lab that could afford them, OpenAI, won't do it because they moved off of JS because they wanted the fastest, most powerful, best possible thing. What's wrong with Rust? It's impossible to contribute to unless you're like a full-time Rust person. Iteration speed goes down a ton. The flexibility of the tool set goes down a ton too. If it turns out you need to make a change, good luck, have fun. There's a lot of things that are making the development of codecs a lot slower. They're putting a lot of engineering effort and money and time into it, but it's still iterating way slower than Claude is, and even than like OpenCode is, and all of these smaller teams and companies that are building on top of JS. There's a lot of ways they could have made codecs faster and a single binary, which were the main goals, that didn't involve rewriting in Rust. Yeah, this is why that happened. Their strategy was this bold rewrite that slows down the whole team. Anthropic's strategy was to acquire the dependency that helps make things way faster and safer without risking the whole business. Even Rust fans can admit this. I love Rust and wish I could use it in production, but it just takes too long to write. Yes. Also, TypeScript and Python are almost never slow enough that you need C or Rust for speed. TypeScript and Python are just as good for security. Yes. And on top of that, since the thing that is slow in these apps hopefully isn't the code, it's the LLMs. If you're already having to wait 13 minutes for a response from one of these LLMs generating all the stuff, the amount of like execution costs that you're eating using JS versus Rust is very, very little, like almost nothing. This is a big thing I'm talking about a lot with JS is JS backends went from making some sense to making a lot of sense when the average request time went up so much. Because if I'm observing 500 requests at a time, all doing LLM generations where I'm streaming down tokens from a third-party API, having the JavaScript concurrency model around the event loop makes that work really, really well because most of the time your JS is just waiting for the next packet to come in so it can forward it down to the user. JS is great for this. Setting up good enough multi-threading systems in other languages to handle that type of concurrent workload is not fun at all. Go can kind of do it. None of the other major languages handle that specific type of concurrency through request loads particularly well. JavaScript does this beautifully. You're going to be building your own concurrency and event modeling solution if you're not using JS or Go. Why not just use them? It's insane to me. So that's another huge part. Anthropic's the biggest company by far that is going all in on Bun like this. If they want to make sure their dependency survives, because the classic XKCD dependency chart where you have all modern infrastructure and then a project from some random person in Nebraska. Think of this as everything Anthropic is building, guy who doesn't know how to make money building Bun VC backed. Huge, huge risk for Anthropic. But now that this dependency is owned by Anthropic and they have competitors that are using that same dependency, there is some incentive for them to lock it down and not help with things that help those competitors. The fact that Claude Code itself is closed source really makes it feel like something they would do. And I implore y'all on the Claude Code team, Boris, Kat, Jared, everyone else involved in these decisions. There's no good reason to keep Claude Code closed source. It doesn't make sense. I've heard arguments for everything from secret sauce to maintaining the repo and the community around it is difficult. You now have one of the best open source maintaining groups ever in this web ecosystem working for you guys. There's no reason to not do this. It will make people so much less scared about this Bun acquisition. If you want to reduce all of the FUD and the fear and the concern people are having in my chat right now, make the good faith play. Open source Claude Code. I don't know what you're hiding or what you're scared of. You need to just do it. I think that's all I have on this one. I'm excited for the future of Bun and the future of Claude Code and all the things that is going to happen here. The only major risk I perceive is Jared getting nerd sniped by something else and no longer focusing on Bun as much. Now that he's going to be surrounded with cool things going on, there's a decent chance of that happening. but I am sure that Bun will be in very good hands now that it is finally funded properly. I'm honestly just relieved that I no longer have to talk about whether or not Bun will ever make money or how it will be here in the future. We have our answer, Anthropic. One of the best things that ever happened to software development from AI is this: the fact that AI money is allowing for Bun to be maintained and exist long term. That's a very good thing. And I'm excited for the future for the Bun team, and I'm also more excited than ever for Anthropic. And no, not just because I'm now technically an investor, because this is a really good faith play, and I trust Jared's judgment. If Jared talked to all the teams and this is the one he wants to work with, I trust him. And I'm asking you guys to as well. I really hope that my trust doesn't get burned by these guys, but Jared's never burned me before, and I trust him to do this right. He did his team right as well, and that's something that's really important to me. If you want to watch me hold these guys accountable, make sure you subscribe. And until next time, peace, nerds.